There were some, but I think we need to listen to our guest.
Exactly. Can I ask Zdenek to join, please?
But I think I know what you need. So baby, don't be shy.
Did you bring a kiwi with you? Because I'm leaving now, otherwise I could eat it.
I ate all of them in the morning for breakfast. Sorry. Hi.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for welcoming me.
Zdenek. And yeah, can you lift the secret? Can you tell us what Kiwi is all about and why the name for the ones who don't remember?
Yeah, I think I've been saying that everywhere on the stage where I was invited, but for those who didn't hear the story, it was actually random. We used to be called skypicker.com, but that skypicker.com name wasn't that good because there were lots of typos all around the world, and we just got to the point that when we were much smaller in 2016, we thought that it's a time for change. We didn't want to do only flights. We wanted to enter other verticals within the travel industry, and we spent 4 months of searching for really good domain name, and I think it was just accident or chance or luck, I would say in this case, that we found a speculant, somebody who was having the kiwi.com domain just ready to sell for the highest bidder, and we brought like a huge amount of money for that time for us. The seller wanted like 1 million euros for the domain, and we just bought it. And since then, we are really happy that we did it.
It was Skypicker before, right?
The Skypicker, and in the app in the Apple phones, the translations or the AI over there was like changing it to Skyjacker, and like lots of typos even like were created by the technology, not by the people.
And since that time, and since you've been here, I think you've grown enormously. How many connections do you sell nowadays?
I don't know how many connections. I know what we did in terms of the turnover last year. It was we outreached 1 billion euros, so that was a big milestone for us. In terms of connections, it's in billions, so I don't know the exact number. And from the content point of view, we do virtual interlining or self-connecting between not only airlines, not only low cost with full service carriers, but also these days with buses and trains, and we are planning to add even hailing taxis, transfers, in order to create a door-to-door possibility for travels.
And in how many countries are you present now?
Well, we sell globally, so we, for example, at Skyscanner or Kayak or the other meta searches, we sell anywhere we are able to. So I would say around 60 to 70 markets. We serve all the nationalities, even though our customer support talks in 15 languages. And from the office point of view, where we have some bases, we have 9 customer support centers all around the world to follow the sun, and around 4 core offices that are owned by kiwi.com, like IT R&D centers in Barcelona, Prague, and we are expanding with the IT developers into Balkan region. So we have offices in Zagreb or Split, Ljubljana, Bratislava, and of course we are based in Brno, in Brno, in the second biggest city, or I would say the biggest village of the Czech Republic.
If I had to describe in a couple of words why you are so unique with what you are doing, is it fair to call it virtual code share and interlining?
Yeah, we've never been using code sharing, that term. We say that we invented virtual interlining, even though it wasn't new 7 years ago when we started. Everything is doable even manually. That's called self-connecting, when passengers are going to multiple websites of the airlines or the carriers. They do the multiple bookings. They need to do multiple online check-ins. They need to download multiple boarding passes. We just realized 7 years ago that we can do it automatically, save time to passengers, create unique itineraries that wouldn't be able to be searched within the milliseconds. And since then, we were lucky enough that we were at the right time at the right spot with the brilliant idea, with good people that started the company. As since then, we start realizing that there is, of course, a huge wave of competition. There are lots of OTAs that are entering the virtual interlining market. There are even GDSs talking about the creating or supporting the virtual interlining idea. And of course, the whole travel industry is following that as well. So that's why we partner with airports that want to facilitate and improve the customer journey within their stopovering airports. Airlines want to do it as well. So finally, after 5 long years of going around the conferences and telling everybody VI, virtual interlining, is the thing, there's a huge market, finally we are there.
Yeah, you realize this market is ripe for disruption. I think one of the latest airport implementations is Pulkovo Airport.
Yes, it's Pulkovo Airport, even though next week I think there will be another PR release with another airport, and during ITB, I hope that I can say ITB here. During ITB trade show, as it's a huge one for us, there will be another PR. So we've been really pushing forward the airport partnerships, mainly in Europe, but we are going also to the US and Latin American region. And regarding the Pulkovo Airport, even though maybe Stansted Airport is also a big partner of us, but with Pulkovo Airport, this is our first Russian airport that will have like stopovering hosted program for the passengers traveling via Pulkovo Airport. So they will be flying with one carrier stopovering at Pulkovo Airport and connecting to another one. And Pulkovo will actually offer to all of these stopovering passengers, for example, a fast track. They will be able to offer them lounge, bag facility in order to make the few hours at the airport better, smoother, and at the end of the day, even take care of the baggage that needs to be handled manually by the travelers these days. And
what do your partnerships with airlines look like?
With the airlines, there are more airlines than the airports, I would say, in the audience. So as today, Kiwi.com is not the online travel agent anymore. We are also a technology provider with all the virtual interlining solutions. So basically with airlines, what we can do, of course, we are able to help with the distress inventories. When there are some routes that are underdeveloped or underserved, we are able to help to increase the load factor of such flights. We are able to, of course, accept incentive programs from the airlines in order to reward us for the sales, even though lots of, or not, almost none of the low-cost carriers offer that. But basically, whoever would be giving us some incentives, we would, of course, take it. But big topic for us is the virtual interlining solution. I would say like white label that can be placed at the website of any airline on their airline.com website to enable actually the airlines to sell these virtual interlining combinations, not only with the other carriers, but also with the buses and trains, and just go on the wave of the virtual interlining even from their point of view.
EasyJet introduced worldwide Connect last year. Would you say that's very comparable? Can you do this better, or how do you compare?
Good question. It's a virtual interlining, but not in full scale. As they do it right, it's based and biased by EasyJet carrier, of course. So when they grow the network, they select actually the airlines that they want to interline or they want to connect to the network. They also need to choose the airports because they need to be obviously the EasyJet hubs. So it cannot get big enough in order to harm, for example, our product, our sales. But from the customer point of view, it's still two separate tickets. Even though there is only like one booking, there are 2 or even 3 surcharges from the credit cards. In case something gets wrong during the journey, actually the EasyJet worldwide, as there is the DoHop as the technology provider, they don't see the disruptions, so they cannot help the customer proactively. They need to wait for the customer to reach out to them and say, hello guys, we've got a problem. This flight was rescheduled by the carrier A. It affects the carrier B leg. Can you help us? Can you do the refund or can you rebook us to another flight? So it's good it's a good product, but I would say we do it completely something else.
Yeah, I'm pleased to say it's good because we've got a few EasyJet people here in the room.
Hello.
Can we do a little game and I start a sentence and you complete the sentence?
We can, but I need to say that I didn't get the questions or the game in advance, so I'm not ready at all, but yeah, we can.
Let's try. The future of code sharing and interlining will be?
Code sharing, difficult. Virtual interlining, awesome and growing because of all the players and all the industry getting there.
Self-connect means?
Manual virtual interlining without insurance or without automation.
Mm-hmm. Machine learning helps to?
Know the customer, know their journeys, and offer better experience and more curated results.
Flight delays?
The first thing that comes to my mind is AirHelp. So it's our partner that helps with the flight delays.
Are there any questions for Zdenek? Everyone wants to have their coffee break.
Not even a question from any airline.
Andreas?
Zdenek, what about the connecting flights liability? If you miss the flights, you offer insurance. So how much do you charge for it? Because this has a price, and you guarantee this connecting or missing flights to rebook and so on. How is that working in practical? And what are the extra premium for the normal passenger?
Well, okay, that's the great question. Thank you very much for that. We call the service Kiva.com guarantee. That's self-insurance that we are paying for, of course, from the margins that we make. And how much we charge for it, it really varies from even 0% or 0 to, let's say, 10 or 12% of the margin, depending on the complexity of the itinerary. Because if we do combination, let's say, of Ryanair and EasyJet, then the risk might be much smaller than when we do combination of multiple low-cost carriers, full-service carrier, and a bus, for example. That would be an itinerary through 2 or 3 continents. How it works in practice, we do cover the new flight ticket to the final destination in case there's a new flight during that day. If not, we are covering also a night in a hotel, transfer to the hotel, and even a meal vouchers. So far, this was done manually, so we had to wait for the customer to reach out to us by phone, most typically, or by email when they get stuck at the airport. And actually, the handling case of such or handling methodology of that case was pure manual. So that's why we have 1,700 customer support agents in order to be able to help in real time, 24/7 to everybody. But I would say in last weeks we introduced automatic solutions. So basically in our app, when this disruption happens and the passenger is really at the airport stuck there, he opens the app, he just clicks there that he got affected by the misconnection, and he just selects all the flights and goes through the process automatically without even calling us, and everything is handled by the technology. The ultimate goal would be that we would already know on the first leg, on the first departure, that probably there's a high probability of this passenger missing the connecting flight already at the stopover airports, and do the proactive communication and tell him, Mr. Smith, we are sorry, the flight is gone. There is another alternative. Agree or disagree, and go on to the final destination. You have 4 hours at the airport. There's the lounge voucher. Go to the lounge, take a shower, eat, and then go on. There we are. That's what we are planning to do.
And with Lumo and Co, those delays can even be forecast ahead of time.
Yeah.
There was another question, huh? Klaus, I think. It was the same. Okay. I start here. you after.
Hi, Zdenek. I wanted to understand how fast is your response, especially in lesser known or obscure airports, in terms of delay care management?
And would you like to know what is our response time for the guarantee cases or for our API? I didn't get the...
Let's say there is a disruption that happens, let's say, somewhere in Africa. That passenger may need hotel accommodation. How fast is that response compared to the airline's response?
Well, it needs to be done within, let's say, 90 minutes. So we have like our partners for hotels for the transfers already. So when we get the customer to the call, we already see what happened, where we would be able to offer him a suitable hotel within the travel range around the airport, and we just do the bookings automatically. So it doesn't matter actually whether it's in Africa or in Latin America or Asia or in Europe. Still, the process is the same.
Answers your question, Martin? Court.
Just a short question. I saw that you integrated Flixbus into your search, and I was annoyed because I want to fly, I don't want to drive on a bus. How do other people react? And or is Flixbus just paying so much that you want to have them on the site?
No, Flixbus doesn't pay us anything.
Okay.
So I think you are referring to the case that if you went to kiwi.com website, that you saw all the bus results, right? And it was kind of flooded. But it's about just our setting of filters in order to really display on the first place, maximally the combinations, bus, train with the air, or just even put air in front of the customer, and then if he wants to discover or explore the buses and trains themselves, just to allow him to surf for it. So it was our fault, but nobody's paying from the bus or train operators anything actually. It was accurated by the price, so that's why it was flooded by 10 euros tickets. Where did you want to go?
I wanted to go from Hamburg to Nuremberg, and of course I wanted to fly.
Okay, that's fine.
Another question?
It's not a question actually. It's just the first thing that was brought up. Where do you think of when Kiwi? Well, I'm from Australia. First thing I think of is the haka, rugby union, in New Zealand. So, but yeah, great business concept. My CEO just came over from. He just flew from Hawaii, then went back to Australia. Then he had to come to Luxembourg for a meeting we had with Lufthansa. When he was flying back, his flight was delayed from Luxembourg to Milan, and he missed his connecting flight. And long story short, it took him 48 hours to get back to Australia. So yeah, great concept to look into.
Was the booking with us, or it was on his own?
Yeah, it's just on his own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And the connotation, like the positive connotation, Kiwi or Kiwi.com connected with New Zealand is of course playing in our role as well. So we are saying, okay, no New Zealand, no Austria, Czech Republic, Europe, beautiful country, good beer, but it definitely helps as well.
Great. Thanks.
And yeah, another question here.
Hi. Airbnb have just hired Fred Reed from the ex-CEO of Virgin America. What are you expecting from them?
Well, I've seen this news that Airbnb was looking at the air like 1 year ago already. So since then, there hasn't been any, at least, public progress, I would say. But of course, like Airbnb is going to get to the air or to the travel, as there will be like a logical step for them to growth. And yeah, we will see which partner they will choose, if it's going to be an OTA or meta search, or if they are going to build their own like really simplified and revolutionary product. We will see, but it's going to be a big move for sure.
There was one more question.
What are your conversion rates, and if there are certain actions that you did and you saw an impact in the conversion rates?
Well, the conversion rate, as we are still meta-search dependent, even though we are trying our best to decrease this dependency, varies from, I would say, channel to channel. So some meta-searches or some traffic generators are more successful than the others. The same goes with the countries or markets. So we see, for example, Japan converts with us around 15%. US is around, can be 5 to 10. UK, yeah. So basically, long story short, our conversion rate is like the average or the market standard, and then it varies from market to market, channel to channel. But we see, for example, trend the easter we go, the lower conversion means, as then we see that lots of people use our website to search for the combinations, and then they go to the websites of the airlines themselves, and they just book it on their own, with the belief that nothing gets wrong on their journey. But it's we try to help the travel better even with that.
Thank you very much. There's one final question, Laurent.
Could you think about selling your data to airlines for measuring pressure demand pressure?
For sure. Yeah, we have lots of data, and we do some magic on the data, even in connection with the airports and airlines. So that's definitely something that we can discuss later on.
Okay, so we continue the discussion during the coffee break. I suggest please try to be back by 4:30, even if you feel free to take your coffee. And I think we've got these traditional Hamburg Franzbrötchen now during this break, so please try them. Feel free to also take them with you, that we can continue on time. Thank you so much, Zdenek.